Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, going through Parliament this week will be the assisted dying bill. It's being debated in the Lords and we'll be coming back to the Commons for the second reading during this week. Over 190 peers have signed up to speak in the debate. It's a record. That's the depth of feeling on this particular matter. Now, Baroness May, or as we used to call her, Big Teresa, she will be speaking. She has got an opinion on there, and I kind of get where she's coming from, and I think she may well be right, which is why initially I was for this bill, but when they removed the judge's signature, having to get a judge to sign it off, that's when I went against it. And she's highlighted one of the issues that it hadn't occurred to me, to be fair, but now that I see it, I can understand why, and I can see why I was right to have that judge in there, because that way it isn't what this could end up being. Follow me drift. We'll get there. Let's start again. Barnsley, shut up! Right. Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and we're going to talk about the assisted dying bill. It's going through Parliament, through the Lords this week. Second reading. 190 Lords have signed up. That is a record. It's going to be several days. They started it actually on Friday afternoon, but it'll continue for the next 2-3 days, and then it'll bounce back into the Commons. The Lords will undoubtedly have amendments because 190 of them start again. Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, the assisted dying bill is currently being read in the Lords. It actually started the discussion on Friday afternoon. It's likely to take another 2, maybe 3 days. It'll go through this week, and then towards the end of the week, maybe the middle, depends how quickly they get through it, it will be fired back to the Commons. There will, of course, undoubtedly be many amendments, and it needs a lot of amendments. And it's going to have a lot because 190 peers have signed up to speak in the debate. Now, that's a record number. So it goes to show the depth of feeling that people have for this bill. Now, I will say before I get any further, when it was first announced, I was very much for it. As time's gone on and they've adjusted it, amended it, changed it, I've moved from being for it to against it. Now, I'm still for in principle. I do believe we should have a humane way of quietly and with dignity and in our own time frame ending our lives. But what's on proposal here is not good. It's a macerated bill. It did initially have to have a judge's sign off, which I thought was very important. That was removed. It was actually removed by the person who pushed the bill in, but that's another matter altogether. Without that judge's signature, I don't think this bill should pass because it opens people up too much to possible later allegations or even criminality, criminal charge being brought later. But that's by and by. This particular bill, I'm against this bill, although for the principle of doing it. So we get that out of the way. But I'm not the only one, it seems. I have an unlikely ally in the form of Theresa May, or Baroness May, as she is now. She is leading the opposition to the bill. Now, she's probably doing it from a moralistic standpoint. I'm doing it from a practical standpoint. However, we are standing on the same sides on this particular debate, oddly. But that's how it is. Now, she is warning that the assisted S word that you cannot say on YouTube, self-ending bill, will be used as a cover-up for mistakes made in the hospitals or clinics up and down the country. basically hiding medical errors. It hadn't occurred to me, I'll be honest, but I can see why, and it does reinforce my belief that a judge should and ought to be involved in the signing off of these end of life consents. She said that it also sends the message that some lives are less worth living than others. I'm going to say that's absolutely true. Some lives are less worth living than others. Someone who is fit and healthy and has a long time in front of them. And then you look at someone who has had many, many years, but many years spent in pain, worried, feeling like they're a burden to their family. That's why they're considering the self-ending. Now, it doesn't mean that their lives are worth any less, but their value of their lives, their quality of life is undoubtedly less. Now, she told peers in the Lords that she said she believes that the safeguards in this bill, she does not believe, she's like me, she does not believe that the safeguards in this bill will prevent people from being pressured to end their lives, sometimes for the benefit of others. This is true, and that's just something I've said, which is why it needs the judge. If somebody ends their life for the benefit of others, it can later come back, well, you only wanted the money, it was inheritance, wasn't it? Makes it difficult. She said in default of a coroner's report, there is a danger, because not all deaths get a coroner's report, but there is a danger that this could be used as a cover-up for, say, mistakes made in a hospital, overdosing or, the wrong treatment, badly managed, disease or some such, complications from surgery that were missed, things like that. Or, of course, the big one, infection in the hospital, She said this has led to an increased likelihood of death when these mistakes are made. And rather than finding the cause of that death, they'll be using this bill to hide the cause of the death by suddenly pulling out this magic piece of paper saying that, the individual wished to end their life. It's basically saying that self-ending is okay. Well, yes, that's the whole point of the bill, Teresa. Self-ending should be okay. There shouldn't be a stigma. If you go and you go, right, look, I've got stage 4 cancer. They've given me 6 months to live. I want to get all my affairs in order. I want to ensure that my trusts are set up, my wife's comfortable, and then I'm going to sit with my family. We'll arrange a time, get the whole family round, and then I'm just going to thank them all, and then I'm going to drift away to oblivion. That's humane. Now, the debate will continue. If the bill is defeated in a Lords vote, and it's very unlikely because generally Lords don't try not to defeat a bill in the Lords. It's happened, but it's not a common occurrence. But it is possible, and it would then fall entirely and would have to start again in the next Parliament. That's not likely to happen. What's likely to happen is they're going to amend the hell out of it and hopefully put the judge-led part back in. What's strange here, that Labour are going to use their majority to drive through what is essentially a massive piece of legislation that would change Britain in a major way. I mean, this isn't just like amending a road traffic act or something. This is substantial legislation changing the very way in which we think of human life. And they're going to do it by ramroding it through with a massive majority, I think without due diligence, and of course with no electoral mandate. And that no electoral mandate is the one thing I think, it's that 1% chance that the Lords will bounce this bill and vote against it. I don't think they will, but it does give them that little hook, if you will, in which to bounce this bill. And I personally think that this bill needs to bounce. I don't think this bill can stand. Let me know your thoughts. This is a very deep personal issue. I know that some people will have very, very strange views on it. Some people will have very expected views on it, and whether they agree with it, disagree with it. Some will agree with the principle like me, but disagree with the bill. Others will think it's perfectly fine. I know. Let me know. Let's have this as a major, and I don't want any, it's not point scoring. This is morals. There's no right and wrong. It's your view. So no point scoring in there. Keep it clean, folks. Let me know the points, though. Let me know your opinions. Thanks very much.